Hello, my miraculous friends and fellow miracle workers. I'm out for my morning walk, and this is something that I have incorporated into my routine this year, not only to get some exercise and fresh air and experience the beauty of nature, but to keep this physical body in shape, because even though I know that I am not a body, that is not my identity, I also know that the body is the vehicle through which we experience our lives. So I wanted to share a story with you about my daughter's wedding last year. I have gained probably 15 pounds over the last 10 years. I always had a high metabolism when I was younger. I didn't have to exercise to stay in shape. I just did normal activities throughout my day and burned off calories and kind of ate whatever I wanted. And it was a pretty charmed way to go through life because I didn't have to think about my diet or exercise. I just enjoyed life and stayed slim and trim. But as I got older, even actually after I had 3 children, I was still pretty skinny. But at some point, it seems like with maybe menopause or I don't know what, my metabolism slowed down and I started to put on 1 or 2 pounds a year until it accumulated to the point where I was very unhappy with my appearance. And when my daughter got engaged and started planning her wedding, I started thinking, I want to look beautiful in her wedding photos as the mother of the bride. I want to be able to fit into a dress that looks elegant and sexy and not feel plump and unattractive. And so I hired a trainer, but he wasn't just any trainer, because I know that the mind controls the body and not the other way around, as most people believe. So I'm fully aware of the fact that if you diet and exercise, but you don't change your mindset, nothing physical is going to change. You might lose a little bit of weight and then you'll gain it right back. You might burn off a few calories and then you won't have anything to show for it, because if the mind is not aligned with the body, you can't make progress. So I had been thinking affirmations about being slim and trim and healthy and strong and flexible and kind of hoping that the body would just follow suit and the weight would fall off, and that was not happening. So I decided to hire this coach who was a person that did his coaching based on A Course in Miracles. I had never seen anybody doing this type of work before, and I thought, this is my guy. He understands where I'm coming from. He understands how important mindset and spirituality are. And he also had the background in exercise and diet and the kinds of things that needed to correspond with shifting my mindset. So I hired him. He was not cheap, but I went all in, and he did give me exercises to do, and he did give me some limitations to my diet. I eat pretty clean already. I believe I try to not consume things that I know are bad for me. I've cut a lot of sugar out of my diet, pretty much cut carbs out for the most part. And some weight did fall off that way, but I wasn't making the kind of progress that I wanted to make by myself. So, first thing my coach told me to do was to make a list of 25 things that I really like about myself and to read them every single day. Because what happens is, if there isn't a strong sense of self-worth and deservingness, the mind will continue to work against you and keep you trapped in things that are not what you want, to show you that you don't deserve things when that's your belief system. So I made this list of 25 things that I liked about myself, and I started reading them every morning. And then he gave me another exercise to do, which was to stand in front of the mirror and look at my face and my body in the mirror and consciously select things that I liked about my appearance, and to say out loud, I like the color of my eyes. I like the shape of my nose. I like the way my shoulders are. Because the human tendency is to focus on the things that we don't like about ourselves and to only observe those things at the expense of all of the good qualities that we have. And we not only do this when it comes to our physical, our physique, but we also do this when it comes to personality traits, when it comes to our habits, our behaviors. Like, the mind always defaults to the negative. So for many of us women, the tendency is to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, oh, my stomach is so fat. I used to have this little tiny waist when I was young, and now I don't. I hate that about myself. And he trained me to recondition the way that I look at myself and think about myself, so that I was focused on the positive instead of focused on the negative. And there were some other exercises that he gave me as well. Like, he asked me to start having Teresa dates once a week and go do something that I really enjoyed and spend time just having fun. And I struggled with that at first because I had become so conditioned to just working all the time and taking care of business and doing things that I thought needed to be done and doing things to help other people, that I had really lost sight of what really lights me up, what I really enjoy and what I like to do. And I couldn't even come up with some ideas at first. One of the first Teresa dates that I went on was taking myself out to a coffee shop just to go and sit and have a cup of coffee somewhere new and spend some time relaxing. And I found this coffee shop in Virginia Beach that was right near the water, and they had live music. And when I went there and sat and had my latte, I felt like my heart was going to burst with joy. It had been so long since I had allowed myself to just indulge in simple pleasures like that, that it was what could be an ordinary experience for many people felt like the highlight of my week for me. So this is how the work went. And as I was doing this coaching program and I was focusing on my diet and my exercise, I started walking every day, and eventually I worked up to running. And I've never been a runner. I've never liked to run. But I found that I had stories from my past that held me back and kept me in patterns to do with physical activity. And one of them was this story that I'm not a runner. Other people are runners, but not me. That when I was in high school and I ran in gym class, I got a stitch in my side and it hurt. And I didn't enjoy running and I didn't want to do it anymore. And my coach said, well, maybe you had gym class right after lunch. Maybe nobody taught you how to breathe properly when you were running. And if you knew how to do that, it would be an enjoyable experience. Maybe you could ask the Holy Spirit to help you on your run, to carry you. So I started doing those things and I started running. And I thought my husband was gonna blow a gasket when I said I was going for a run. Those are words he never thought he would hear me say. So little by little, I started losing weight. And by the time that my daughter's wedding rolled around, I was able to order a gorgeous dress, fit into it, look slim and attractive, went and got my hair and makeup done. And when I showed up at the wedding, my son-in-law did not even recognize me. He was like, who is that glamorous lady that I've never seen before who invited her to the wedding? And it was me, and they'd been dating for 5 years, so that was pretty comical. I also had a lot of healing work during this time that I was working with this coach, where I saw that my relationships, in particular with my family of origin, were holding me back and were keeping me confined to this limited sense of identity. And I was able to let some of those things go. And that was truly, truly restorative. And when you let go of these stories that you hold on to that feel hurtful or that feel limiting, that uses a lot of energy. And we store that stuff, that trauma, that emotional upsets in our body at a cellular level. So when we can become aware of the beliefs that we have carried with us, sometimes for decades, and we can release them and let them go, it frees up an enormous amount of energy that allows you to be more active and to exercise and to get out there. So I want to thank you for joining me on my walk this morning. It's very humid and muggy here in Pennsylvania. I have a feeling it's going to rain soon, and I'll be signing off then, but I'll see you next time. I'm Teresa McGallagher, and I love you.